Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll start the recording, otherwise I'll forget. Cool. How's everybody doing?
Good. So far, so good.
Hi, Naren. Are you done with your marathon?
Yeah, this one. Then I will have next one.
Oh my God, cool. All right, we have Karuna in the house. We'll just give 2 more minutes for folks to join in. And then
Maybe the ones who've joined it can give us a little background of what is their perception of past life. Do they believe it or not? Just to get an idea. Shikha, you want to start?
Yes, I can. So I am Shikha and I'm based out of Dehradun, India. And I was really actually looking forward to this session. I mean, I've just heard about, past life regression and in some such therapies, but I really never had an experience to kind of, speak to somebody about it or maybe know somebody's experience on this. So, and this is one area that I would really like to explore. And there are a lot of things that, I mean, as I think it's with everybody, there are a lot of questions and a lot of, doubts. And I seek answers to many questions as to, why, so there are a lot of whys for various things. So, and then I am somewhat religious. So I believe in the past life and the karmas. And, we've been hearing this since our childhood, especially in Hinduism, wherein, people talk about rebirth, reincarnation. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to know more on this.
All right, thank you. Do you want to continue? Sarika, you are in charge of the timing.
Right. We'll give 1 more participant to talk about what's their view on past lives. Who would want to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Charu.
Just because I might have. I'm Charu. I am from Ohio. I don't know, actually. Some things makes you feel like that might be true, and some you feel like if you're all energy and you'll just get transformed in some other energy when you die, then it just continues. And so it's kind of hard to say that you were human before and now you're again human this year. So they're very conflicting thing. Or were you animal that so it's I don't know the answer is what the thing is, and I don't know if I ever thought about it or try to find an answer to this. That is where I stand.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, that's really cool to know. And I was also in the similar boat many years ago where I used to always look at a lot of things like woo-woo and doesn't make sense, and I just shove it back. And anytime I would somebody would bring such topics to me, even for astrology and some other very basic things, I was like, this is all just too much. So I had my first experience with past life in Dr. Brian Weiss's event, and I blogged about it. And in that session, I was actually transported into a future timeline, which I experienced a couple of days after that event. And that blew my mind. He took us into guided meditation, and I went and I saw a beautiful white room, kitchen, other things. And a few days later, I was in that room. And I was totally blown away with that experience. I researched about it. And what I understood was that time is not linear as we see. There's everything is happening simultaneously. And we are all multidimensional beings in the sense that we can tap into our past, present, future, other dimensions, and so much more. So this, my personal experience actually kind of, opened my mind to it. And I started exploring more. And I've had 4 or 5 past life experiences where I've got insights into my relationship issues or current life challenges. I recently had one with Karuna. I was having this claustrophobia fear, and it triggered since last year or so. I was in the back of the car, the last row, and I felt like there were a lot of kids with me and they started tickling me. And I suddenly was not able to breathe and felt trapped in the last row of the car. It's an 8-seater car. And that incident kind of triggered my claustrophobia fear, where I was like, I was not able to breathe in that moment, and I was so scared. But that after that event happened, I would go into that fear state, like even when I'm lying down on my bed, and if my blanket goes on top of my face, I would just start to panic and I would just take it off. I need to have my feet and my face and everything uncovered because that fear set in. So I was recently recognizing that fear, and I reached out to Karuna that, I want more insights into it, like why I was never afraid of restricted or constricted places, but now it's like so uncomfortable that I'm even afraid to fly in flights. That flying in flights give me kind of an anxiety that I will be trapped in that plane for so long, and I don't know if it doesn't land. And this is so new to me because anyways. So we did a session with Karuna hosted a session, and she took me into deeper states of mind. And I went into a past life where I saw, it's a beautiful experience. But so she took me into different stages, and I landed in a scene where I was in a village, and my husband was a fisherman, and we went on a boat, and there was a stormy day, and the boat tripped, and I was trapped in the boat for long, and that's how I died. And I saw this like a movie in my mind, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know, sometimes it feels like that you're imagining, but it's like all those visions and are playing in your head, and it's not you imagining. I did not imagine this scene, because when she took me to that village, I was like, why am I here? What do I do? And then what's next? And she would ask me questions. So, and somehow when I came out of that experience, I was a little calmer. And I think she also, insert some suggestions while you are in that deeper states of mind. So off recently, I've seen that I'm not so much scared of putting blanket on my face, or, I'm okay with which watch was like scaring me in the past. So, and I thought like, okay, let's bring Karuna, the expert here. I haven't been in that claustrophobic environment, like where I'm blocked in a tight space. So I'm yet to test it out more, that is it fully gone or is it still there? But it kind of gave me a review of what triggered, which memory triggered, and what brought me up. So from here, I'll pass it on to Karuna. So to give us a brief introduction about herself. Karuna is actually from a technical background. She used to work in IT and then moved into holistic practices. So we want to learn a little bit about your journey and take us into this adventure of past lives and what it is.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me, first of all. And I'm always excited when I meet new people. So it's great. I migrated to United States in late 1991. And I was leading a normal life like everybody else. I got married, I have kids, we bought a house. I was working in information technology as a program manager, project manager. And somewhere around 2006, things changed for me. Around 2000, actually, things started changing because they opened a Jain temple near my city where I was living. And then I started attending the Swadhyay over there. And I was volunteering as a Hindi teacher. And then I started volunteering at the Jain library. So I came across a book by one of our Mahapragnaji who talked about hypnosis in his book. And that surprised me because in my mind, hypnosis was all about Las Vegas entertainment. So I was like, how come Pragnaji is talking about hypnosis? And I Googled and found that hypnosis is a state of focused concentration. And I said, this is exactly what you need when you're studying something, right? So when you're 100% focused on what you're studying, things go deeper into your subconscious mind. Therefore, it becomes part of your knowing. And he was encouraging people to use hypnosis to learn the teachings, Jain teachings. And actually, I used that to pass one of my certification exams. I was struggling to pass my PMI exams, project management, for a year. With 2 kids and a full-time job, it was really difficult to study. So just by learning self-hypnosis, my productivity went up, my memory retention, recall went up, and within 2.5 months, I just aced through the exam. So which surprised me a lot. And being a bookworm, I was doing a lot of research on the brain. And I thought, oh, this is great. If I can learn more about it, then my kids were young and I can teach them so that their schooling becomes easier. I had no intention of changing careers. I was doing extremely well in my career. But I did a 9-month course online, and I said, okay, this is done. And as I was doing it, I was practicing on myself, all the techniques that I was learning. And I was practicing with my friends and colleagues because they were interested in Karuna doing something new. And then I was changing. I was much more present with my kids. My productivity was high. I was more relaxed and calm. So I was practicing with these people. And when I finished my certification, I was like, okay, back to my regular work. Right, but the divine had a different plan for me. I actually went into an accident where I could have died that night. My car was total, but somehow I survived. So I realized that I've been getting messages to move into a healing practice, and I was resisting it. So I said, maybe this is a call for me to listen to my inner voice, which has been guiding me to get into healing. So that's time 2007. I shifted into starting my own holistic healing center. And 2008 is when I committed to it full time. So I quit my job and I went into it full time. And since then, there has been no looking back. It's been an amazing, amazing journey. And I think one of the tools that helped me a lot was past life and in between life, because I was able to go to my various different past lives and bring back the knowledge and wisdom that I had gained, because I have done this work in many, many lifetimes. So it helped me to bring back all the learnings from those lifetimes. Therefore, for me, when I moved into the path, even though I had moved in late in life and compared to a lot of people who had so much more experience, I started doing really well because I had already had all the knowledge and wisdom transmitted back to me. So I think that gave me a big boost and made me realize more and more that we are multidimensional beings. We are not just flesh and bones and just a form of the body. We are way, way more than that. And now science is also proving it, that we are not just a body, we are an energy field, right? Because if you look at the body, you cannot look at the body and figure out what is the happiness level of this person, where is his sadness, where is his beliefs, what experience did he have, where is it recorded? It's not recorded in your physical body, right? Because I can dissect a human body and I won't find it. So where is it all this recorded? It's recorded in your energy body, right? Even if you look at regular science, we remember if you have electricity flowing through a wire, there's an electromagnetic field, right thumb rule. So there is some energy flowing within us, right, which leaves the body when we die. And that energy that is flowing through us is called chi or prana or ki, and it produces electromagnetic field around you, right? That's why we show a halo around saints and people who are on a spiritual journey, right? Because there is, and now there are cameras called aura cameras, which actually show you your auric field. Okay, so there's so much science that is catching up to letting us know that we are more than a physical body, right? Quantum physics, for example, is breaking, it's connecting spirituality, laws of spirituality so easily, because quantum physics is so different from Newtonian physics, right? Because Newtonian physics deals more with the material world, and quantum physics is dealing with more subtle energies. Right. So there is such a big difference now, because there is so much scientific evidence about you being way more than you thought. Right? So if we are an energy field, then what does, maybe I can share a small presentation. All right. So if you even look at yourself in a very simplistic way, that you are made of atoms, right? And if you look at an atom, there's only 1% of the atom that is matter, the neutrons, the protons, the electrons, right? 99% of the atom is non-matter part of you, right? So what does this non-matter contain, basically? So, and if you think of that extrapolated, then your body is made of atoms, in which case you're only 1% matter, and you're 99% non-matter. And that the mind, it can't even grasp that concept. Right. So that's why in meditation, we try to go beyond the mind, because the mind really cannot understand a lot of these things. Right. So in this, it is in this space between, which is a very intelligent space. And in that space is contained all of your experiences, all of your, I'll bring you back to your, with your 5 senses, you're only noticing the physical part of you, the matter part of you. right? But there is 99% of you, which is the non-matter part of you. And that is where all your emotions, your thoughts, your values, your all the different lifetimes, if you believe in reincarnation, all that information is recorded and stored in your energy field. So you are way more than you realize, right? We say human beings have limitless potential, but we don't really understand what that means. Because we are looking at the world with a very narrow perspective, like a 1% view of the world through this physical, right? But this is a picture taken from an auric camera, right? And you can see that I'm not just this body, I'm this whole energy field, okay? And this picture will give you a lot of information if you learn how to interpret the energy, okay? But there is a proof. And even if you look at Einstein's law, energy is E is equal to mc squared. Energy and mass are interchangeable, right? So if the energy starts moving faster and faster at the speed of light, then you can actually convert it into mass, or you can go the other way around. So what is happening is your non-matter part of you is converting into your physical part at a very rapid rate, right? So it's the 99% of you that is affecting the 1% of you. You understand? That's why with medical science, we are not able to find the root causes of most of the things, because we're looking for the root cause in the world of 5 senses, but it doesn't lie there. The root cause lies outside that, right? So we know now many people are growing in awareness that we are becoming more and more aware that we are more than a physical body, and our emotions, our thoughts are affecting our physical health. So you can exercise a lot, you can eat healthy, but you can still go into depression, you can still get cancer, and you can get everything, right? Why? Because it's not just eating healthy and exercising, it's also your emotions and thoughts, how they're affecting you, right? We know at some level, we say a positive patient recovers faster than a negative patient. What is positivity? It's an emotion, a thought, right? So we understand at some level that we are more than a physical body. So I think people are waking up to that now, and more people are taking charge of their emotions and thoughts. And that's why the holistic health industry, the wellness industry, is growing so rapidly, right? It's, I think, highest growing industry, 6.7% per annum or something I read, right? $7 billion already, right? Because we are in an age where we are moving from Kali Yuga into Satyug, the age of Piscean into age of Aquarius, right? So there is a huge change happening right now. And therefore, the level of consciousness of people is rising. And you can see that spirituality is becoming more and more common in the last couple of decades than it was ever before. It was more religion before, and now it's because more and more souls are waking up, and they're realizing that they want to get into Satyug. They want to go into bliss and happiness and joy, right? And therefore, topics like we are doing today, past lives, in between lives, there are, I think, 65 to 70% of the people in the world have started believing it, or at least know about it, and are willing to explore this, just like all of you today, right? Because people are waking up. There is something within us which is prompting us, hey, what is life all about? What are you doing here? What are you supposed to be doing? Right? How will you attain perpetual happiness? So there are all these questions coming up, because our reality is more than the 5 senses. And to know this 99%, you have to develop some subtle senses of yours, right? I was Googling once, and that we have 22 senses. Many of them are clairsenses, right? Clairsentient, clairvoyance, because those are the senses that will help you to know more about these other parts of you, right? So
Karuna, we have a question here. How do we want to take it? Like,
yeah, I mean, shall we just put the questions at the end?
Yeah, let's put the questions at the end. Post the questions in the chat so that you don't forget.
Yeah,
the questions in the end.
So if you look at ourselves, we have more than one body. We have a physical body, which we can see with the 5 senses, but we also have an emotional body, which consists of all of your unresolved emotions. You have a mental body, which consists of all of your thoughts, right? We have 60,000 plus thoughts in a day, out of which 90% of the thoughts are repetitive, the same old thoughts recycling over and over again, right? And we have a spiritual body because we live our life with some values. So all of your experiences, and if you believe in the theory of reincarnation, that you reincarnate over and over again till you reach a point where you are reaching enlightenment, all of those experiences are recorded and stored on all these bodies. And that's how, as a hypnotherapist, I would go deeper into your subconscious mind to help you look at some of your experiences in the current lifetime or in other lifetimes, if you believe in it. right? So I think Dr. Brian Weiss was one of the persons in the Western world who actually, Brian Weiss was one of the persons in the current world who actually came and made past lives more authentic to the Western world, right? Because he's a Jew and he's a leading psychiatrist, head of a psychiatry department, and he didn't believe in reincarnation because that's not part of his religion. And yet he was working with current life regression with clients to help them with their issues, and he landed up into other lifetimes, and that blew him apart because he just couldn't believe it. He didn't believe in that concept, but he was forced to look into it because he got a lot of information about his life, and which he had never told anybody else. And there was this woman, one of his clients, telling him about these things. So his first book was Many Lives, Many Masters. And he talks about how he converts himself from being a non-believer into a believer based on all the experiences he had with regressing clients around the world, right? So basically the question is, what happens to you when you leave this body? You're not the body, as we just saw. You're the non-matter part of you, right? 99% of you is your non-matter. That's the energy part of you. So when you leave this body, where does this energy go? We know in physics that energy can never be destroyed, right? So that means you are indestructible. You're continuously existing. And what is this energy? Maybe one way to call it is the soul, or you could call it higher consciousness. Right? Doesn't matter what you call it, but just for the ease of it, I'm going to call it the soul. So where does your soul go? What does it do? Okay, the soul is perpetually learning and growing, because ultimately the soul, if you believe in it, then you are trying to go back to understanding that you are a divine being. Right? In order to understand that you're a divine being, you have to go through a lot of processes to get to know that. Because if you are, for example, if you always live in light, we don't know what darkness is, right? And we take the light for granted because we don't know anything else. Therefore, we need to move into darkness to really understand what light is. In order to know that you're a kind person, you need to have somebody doing unkind acts, because then only you can exhibit your kindness. And then you know, oh, this is kindness and this is unkindness, right? So the soul is constantly trying to experience itself and know itself more and more, right? So there the theory of reincarnation comes in, is that the soul is reincarnating. Okay, now whether you're reincarnating back as a human, or you're reincarnating as a plant or a tree or an animal, or you're reincarnating in some other dimension. If you look at the sky, the earth is just a tiny dot in the whole universe. So I think sometimes I feel it's men's ego, which makes us think that life exists only on this tiny dot in this whole universe. Right? There is a lot of intelligence out there. If you think of gods and goddesses, where are they residing? Why are people still praying to Buddha and Jesus and Muhammad and Mahavir and all that, right? Where are they existing? They are existing somewhere in the universe, right? So there is a lot of intelligence out there. And between taking reincarnations on Earth, we are moving into different schools around the universes. I consider Earth as a school. We come here to learn and grow, right? And once we've completed our lessons from this school, we may land up in other schools too, right? But you don't get admission in the Earth school so easily, right? Because there's only limited amount of souls that can reincarnate here, and there are billions and trillions of souls out there. So therefore, you may not come back to Earth easily, but you may land up in other places. And whenever you get a chance, you will come back to Earth to finish your lessons, right? So what happens is all of these experiences that you're gathering through many of your incarnations are all being recorded and stored in your energy field, right? And those are the experiences that are affecting you in this lifetime too. So another way of looking at yourself is like you're a pearl necklace, and each pearl represents an incarnation of yours, right? You're a soul and you've experienced a lot of things, and each pearl is a reincarnation of yours. So if I take the necklace and I start moving it up and down, all the pearls will get moved. So there are things happening in your other lifetimes that are affecting you in this lifetime too. Right? And there's a veil which separates you from knowing your other lifetimes, because if you know that you're multidimensional, sometimes you will get too distracted and you will not focus on your current school and current lessons. Right? So you're supposed to be on Earth, you're supposed to experience things here, you're supposed to learn about all these things. So That's why there's a veil put on you when you come on earth. So you can give your 100% focus and attention to what's going on here on earth versus trying to know everything else. But now, since we are rising in consciousness, we are learning that, yeah, it helps us to know ourselves as a bigger entity than just an earthling, because that helps us to resolve issues on earth very much faster and quicker. It's just like a high school student can resolve issues of a kindergartner so much more easily, right? Because he had experience, right? So therefore, the issues that the kindergartner had is more easy for the high school person to resolve. Same thing, when you know your multidimensional self, then it becomes really much more easy for you to resolve all the issues you face here on earth. So that's why more and more people are waking up to wanting to do in between life and past lives. In between life is when you're not reincarnating back on earth, but you're reincarnating somewhere else. So there is knowledge and wisdom that you're gaining over there too, right? So do you believe in past lives or not? It's up to you, because if you believe in the theory of reincarnation, then the soul is not getting destroyed. So you have this question is, what is the soul doing, right? Second is the theory of karma, right? You reap what you sow. So everything that you have done is experience that you had is trying to teach you something. You can either learn now or you can learn another lifetime, right? But we are all here to learn and grow, right? So reincarnation is like, okay, I didn't finish all my lessons now, but I want to start with a different play to learn my lesson. That means I want to probably move into another classroom, another teacher, because I'm trying to learn physics and I failed in this grade. And now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to go to another classroom with another teacher, right? With another group of students to learn again. So that's what happened every reincarnation. Life is a play, they say, because you come here in a particular classroom to learn in a particular way. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay. You can move into another classroom, learn and with another play, the same lessons. So we keep doing this till we graduate from the school. And Earth is such a difficult school that graduating from here really requires a lot of self-development. Right, because the school is that's why it's an Ivy League school. It's like really tough, and you can see people struggling in some areas of their life all around the globe. Right, that's how difficult the school is, because it's not easy to pass the school, and therefore everybody has challenges. Doesn't matter what they portray of themselves within a person. You can never see, looking at a person, what challenges they are facing, because we are so good at wearing masks, right? And we all do that. So, but every soul is going through this school with lessons which are easy, some lessons and some lessons which are more difficult, right? And if you watch yourself, you may also observe that you have certain patterns in your life. And normally if you have patterns, those patterns are coming from other lifetimes, right? So some children are born gifted in certain areas. How did they get that gift, right? So it's because they have mastered that area in other lifetimes. So they come here and they are a born musician, for example, right? Because they have mastered it in other lifetimes. Or you may come here with the fear of water from a child. A child is just scared of water. Maybe they haven't had any experience of being scared of water in this lifetime, but they are. That means it's coming from another lifetime. If you had anxiety right from childhood, you've always been an anxious person, then more than likely that you've collected so much anxiety from other lifetime is floating in your emotional and mental body already, and it's affecting you. That's a 99% of you is coming with these things already, so that you can work on it in this lifetime and clear it. So the aim is, when you come in this world, you're coming with a particular energy field, and your aim is to clean that energy field as much as you can before you leave the earth, so that your next reincarnation is better. You're learning other lessons and you're progressing further and further, right? Till you reach a state where you reach enlightenment, or nirvana, or moksha, as we call it, which is perpetual. You reach a state of perpetual happiness, bliss. You understand creation. You become a master creator yourself, because you merge with the divine. Right? So every lifetime our goal is to keep improving ourselves more and more, collecting less emotional baggage and going forward in our journey. Right? But unfortunately, it's not that easy, because this school is full of Maya, full of illusions, and you get into those illusions and we forget our journey. It's like going to college and then becoming vice president of this fraternity and president of the other fraternity and forgetting all about your studies. And then 4 years go by and like, oh my God, I didn't graduate. right? So that's why the school is so difficult. You get stuck in all these illusions that are created, and you have to figure your way out of these illusions to know the truth. Right? So therefore, past lives becomes one of the ways in which you can go back and look at some of your baggages that you've collected and start cleaning those up, right? Removing the baggage, because I want to clean my energy field out. I'm not just this 5 senses being, I'm a multidimensional being. So I want to go ahead and clean as much as I can, because there is so much knowledge and wisdom available on earth to do this cleaning work. That's why they say it's an honor to be born as a human being, because you have the ability to rise in consciousness, right? So it's really a big honor given to you when you're given admission in this school over here. Okay? So past lives can help you resolve certain things that you are not able to figure out in this lifetime. Why am I going through this? Why are certain people in my life? What is my contract with them? What am I supposed to learn from these people? Why are they manifesting here, right? Or it could be questions like, you have some relationship issues, or you have some issues in abundance of any kind, and you're not able to achieve the abundance. You're working hard, you're doing everything right, but you're still not able to achieve your goals. Well, what's going on? What are the blockages? What is blocking you? Right? So you can find answers in this lifetime, or sometimes it's not possible to find answers here. So then you might want to look in other lifetimes to see what's going on there that is affecting me and creating this blockage for me, right? And also in between lifetimes, you have an ability to connect with your spiritual masters and guides, right? Just like in regular school, you have teachers who are guiding you, right? And principal of the school who's creating curriculum for the entire school. So similarly, as a soul, you have guides and teachers who are helping you too, helping you to reincarnate, helping you to decide, okay, what lessons would you like to go back to earth and learn? What should your play look like? What are the different opportunities you will get when you go there? So let's decide everything up. So sometimes when we do past lives, we can also do in between life, where you can actually go meet your spiritual masters and guides, and who know you at a soul level. So they can actually give you so much more information about yourself than you could realize with your 5 senses. Right? They can tell you what you have come here to do. What are your patterns? What patterns are you clearing? Right? So in past life sessions, which I do is earlier, it was just seeing the different past lives. And that itself is very profound, because just by seeing it scientifically, they've proven that you're releasing a lot of stuck energy. So just by viewing your past life, you're releasing a lot of stuff. Okay. But in the last 4 or 5 years, I've noticed that I actually do a lot of healing work in your past lives. I can actually enter your past lives and I can help you heal, or I can do life coaching for you, or I can do energy work for you. And even those masters and guides can help you heal if you ask for their assistance at that time, and help you to clear off a lot of baggages and, help you to clean yourself up, clean your energy up, right? Therefore, many times when you do these sessions, it's a very profound experience. It's about like knowing about a fruit called guava, but never having tasted it. You can do all kinds of research about that fruit, but there is no words through which you can explain how the guava tastes, right? Because words are very limiting. Words is only a small part of the energy field. So to really understand the taste of guava, you have to eat it. So same thing, you want to know your past lives, that you're a multidimensional being, just going through a past life experience shifts things for you. Okay.
Right.
So let's take some questions now.
Yeah, thank you. That was all power packed. All right, so let's start with, so the first question that came up is, what is in between lives?
Okay.
And in related question is, if there is no time, like how is everything existing simultaneously?
All right. So first, what is in between life? I think we just spoke about it. In between life is when the soul is not reincarnating back on earth, but it is still existing somewhere, right? And as I said, if you look at the universe, earth is only a small dot over there. So there are many, many different constellations where there are many, many universities, and you could be existing there and learning something over there. That is in between life. right? And in between life is also when you meet your spirit masters and guides who can tell you a lot about you as a soul level and help you to understand your current life. Or maybe you viewed certain past lives and they can help you understand why you had to go. Like in her case, she went through the boat thing. And so maybe the past and the in-between life, they can help you understand why you had to go through that experience. What were you trying to learn from that, right?
Yeah. I can add a little element to it is, so if you're saying that there's no time, right? So like everything exists simultaneously, but one part of our higher self is always in that divine higher state that is overlooking everything. So in between is like connecting to that higher self in that state where you have a lot of guidance as well. And that's what Brian Weiss also talks about in his book, Many Masters, Many Lives. He says you have many lives and then there are many masters who are assisting you. I highly recommend you guys read this book.
Yeah, I think what we need to know that we are a big energy field, right? 99% of us is so huge that we really cannot fit that energy into one body. Your body will fry, the human body. So we bring only say 5 to 10% of our energy into this body, right? Because your energy field cannot fit into this body. So there's other part of you, which she calls the higher self, for example, is existing and it is still working out. It's not just sitting there watching this 10% of you doing work. It is actually doing work. So you're multidimensional, you're working in several planes together. Right? That's very difficult to understand. So I didn't want to bring it up, but since you asked that question. So everything is happening simultaneously. So only on Earth, in this school, we have a concept of time. Time is a concept, as Einstein said also. Time and space are concepts. They're not reality. Right? So it is a concept we need because in this school, we need that resource of time to understand how things are moving. It's like if you remember the projector type, when you saw movies through a projector, you had the reel, right? So every reel has a tiny squares and they are denoting what's happening. So how do you know progression of the movie? It's only because they run it in a sequence. But if I cut all those small pieces of the reel and put it on the ground, there is no time then. Yeah. Each is existing by itself and all is existing together. But to understand things, we are running it in a particular sequence so that you have an idea that there is a time lapse happening. Okay, so this not a time is very difficult for us to understand because we have been ingrained with time over here. Right. So that's why in spiritual circles, we say it's only now. There is no past or future. So all of your past lives are existing at the same time. You are in that pearl necklace. Everything is existing together. And therefore, anything happening in one is affecting everything else. Okay, but for the human mind, it's easy to learn with time because time is such a ingrained concept in us. So we call it past lives and future lives and current lives, right? So I think does that answer the question? I would think so, right?
Right. Who'd like to ask next question?
I think the next one of the questions they are: if soul is eternal, why can't we live in this body forever? As I just said, the body is not strong enough to hold you. You are such a huge energy field that there is no way in which you can learn in just one body. It's just like if I have to go on a mountain, I need a 4-wheel drive. Whereas if I have to just drive in the streets of the city, then two-wheel drive can do. So depending on what you have come here to learn, you will come with a different vehicle. Your body is a vehicle through which you are going through your experiences. So you need different bodies for going through different experiences, bigger lessons. So therefore, you cannot learn everything through one body. So if I just have a 2-wheel drive, I'm very limited to where I can go in the world. Because for many of the things which are higher elevations, I need a 4-wheel drive. Right? So in order to learn the truth, which encompasses everything, you need different vehicles. So therefore, we come in one vehicle and next time we come probably in a different vehicle because we want to have some other experiences. Right? So if you want to learn to drive an electric car, you need to go through a Tesla or some electric car. Right? If you say, I'm not going to use that, then that's fine too. But you're limiting your experience of cars to drive. Right? Because each car is showing you something else. Right? Like if you're driving electric like Tesla, it is doing a lot of automatic things for you. So you can focus on other things. Right? So therefore, we keep shifting bodies. Just using different vehicles for learning different things. If I want to go to the moon, I need to learn to get a body of an astronaut, right? To get the suit that they wear, because that's the only way I can explore moon. So same thing, similar concept. You need different bodies to explore different things. When does all learnings end? Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, the learning never ends actually, because we are such a powerful soul that we always want to keep evolving and use our creativity, right? So suppose you learned how to you went to class to learn how to become a potter. Now, are you going to stop at just making one kind of pot? No, you're going to use your creativity to develop more different kinds of pot, because that's your basic nature, creative nature. So you're going to do more and more and more. So you're learning, okay, now I designed a simple pot. I want to do a little more complicated. I want to do some design. That's the soul's innate nature. Creativity is our innate nature. That's how we are creating universes, and we are creating planets, and we are discovering more planets, because the soul just loves to create. Right? So will you stop learning? Probably not, right? Because then you are becoming static. A thing that doesn't flow gets static. So you are, and it's not, learning doesn't have to be tough. It's creativity. Creativity is fun. If it is pure creativity, where I don't have to worry about money and career and all these things, and I can just create, then isn't that going to be a lot of fun? And that's what the soul wants to do. It wants to learn new ways of using its creativity. What else can I create? Oh, I created this constellation. Can I create another galaxy? So as you raise in consciousness, you're creating galaxies, you're creating consciousness, you're creating new types of plants and new types of animals. You're playing around all the time. Yeah. All right. So anything else?
Yeah. Shika, you want to go next? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Karuna, whatever you're saying is, of course, making sense. And it's like really lovely to hear all this. So my question is that you said that simultaneous lives exist, and what I am in this life, a part of me, another part of me, which is energy, is something else in some other life. Okay. So my question is that if I am trying to, or if I am fortunate enough to learn about these concepts in this life where I am right now, and my other self, which is in the other life, is doing something entirely opposite of it. So will it affect this life? And because if lives are connected, so, whatever I'm trying to do right now to understand the concepts, to, I move forward towards well-being, or towards attaining salvation, or whatever is the ultimate, state of happiness. And if my other self in my other life is doing something really bad, then will it affect this life
Yes,
of mine?
it will.
How does that work? How does that work?
Yes, very good question. It will affect, because there will be an inner conflict going on within you, which you're not even consciously aware of. And therefore, you'll not be able to progress into learning too much in this lifetime, because there's a blockage, because there's something else going on which is opposite to you. So that's why there are some people who are working so hard, but yet they don't achieve their goal, right? Because there's an inner conflict. I'll take a simple example, which most of us understand. We get married, right? And when we are marrying, we are creating a contract with the person to spend our life with them. Yeah. So unless most of us, when we die, we are not breaking the contract when we die. A contract continues, right? So what happens is, next lifetime you come and you're marrying somebody else, but a part of your energy is stuck with the other soul, right? So you can never be 100% committed to this spouse you have today, right? Because you have so many contracts that you signed with so many souls out there. Right. So when you do this past life and in between life, you can actually go back and clear up all those contracts. You're done with those lessons. They're finished in this classroom. You don't need that contract anymore. Right. If you look at our Indian stories, in the last 1/3 of their life, the kings would leave their palace and go live with the gurus, and they live separate from their wife. It's like they break up their contract with the wife. It's done. Now their whole life is dedicated to spiritual growth. So they clear up everything in that lifetime and go. But we don't do that nowadays. Right. So we continue. So that's an example of how certain things in other lifetimes may be affecting you and not allowing you to reach your full potential. So we are in a karmic cycle most of the time, because we're just clearing up part of our karma in this lifetime. Right. But yeah, we are your other lifetimes, if they're doing opposite things, are definitely affecting you now. Then that's why those are the things you have to resolve. Right. You can go back to that lifetime. You can provide knowledge and wisdom to yourself in that lifetime. You can help yourself move away from what you're doing over there, bringing more divine light and energy into that lifetime, right? So yes, there's a lot you can do with past lives where you can clear up these things. Yeah.
All right. Debbie, you want to raise your question?
Sorry, did you see me?
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, you want to pose your question?
I wasn't sure if I typed it in a way that it made sense. So basically, I understand that when we move on to like wherever you believe you're going when you die, heaven, for Christians, I guess I believe that. If we're perfect when we go there, if our bodies and our souls, not our bodies, sorry, our souls are perfect when we go there to meet our higher self. What's the purpose of having Earth School if we're going to be perfect when we pass on anyway?
The thing is, you don't know you're perfect. As I said, if you're always living in light, you kind of take it for granted, and then you don't know what light means anymore because it's just that, right? That's why you come to a school of duality where there is opposites happening to see, okay, this is what darkness feels like, then this is what light feels like. So you have a deeper knowing that you are perfect, right? Otherwise, you don't realize it. It's like if I have food all the time to eat, I don't really know the importance of that food. I just take it for granted. But if I have to go through not having food for a few weeks, for a few days, then I realize the importance of that food. Then I realize what a blessing it is to have that food, right? You can learn to be in an energy of gratitude, because when you are perfect, your energies are pure. Right? But in order to understand the purity, you do this. Second reason why you come to these schools is to test your powers. You're saying you're perfect. Then can you take darkness and alchemize it into light? Or do you become dark when you come into darkness? Right? That means you don't know your power yet. So you come here to test your power also. So you go into a school of duality and say, okay, let me go down to darkness and see whether I can still be a light. And many times we can't. We come here and we get into darkness and we forget our light, right? Because that means your knowing that you are light is gone. So that's why you keep coming back to say, you know what, I want to become an alchemist. Alchemist is converting lead into gold, but it's also converting darkness into light. And he said, you know what, I am a powerful creator. You put me in any darkness, I'm going to convert it into light. Right?
That makes,
That's
that
why
makes
you
sorry, that makes sense, but I guess because I was always taught and always known that when we pass on, we're just perfect. Like we're perfect love, we're perfect light, we're just perfect. So if we become perfect, then why wouldn't we know that we're perfect?
Because you don't have a realization that you're perfect. You become perfect, but you don't know what you have become.
So I like to give a little different take on this,
Okay.
that I understood from one of my experiences. When we are in that realm of perfect love and light, it's there and we are there for infinite time, and then we get bored or or we want more experience, like so it's for experiences, because that we come here and reincarnate to live different emotions, because everything else there is love. There are no thoughts also in that realm of perfectness and perfect love. There are no thoughts, there are no emotions. It's just
A state
bliss.
of being.
Yeah. And when so how long, so, and that's what I've understood is like was I came here to experience emotions, experience love, experience darkness, or what are the different tangents of experiences that can happen. And once I came here, I got entangled with that. And then that entangle led into another one, because I have to resolve everything. And that led to another, experience, another lifetime. But from divine's perspective, we are all at the core that same divine, who is just reincarnating into different bodies to have these different experiences. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just going in repetition.
I think it's just about getting to know ourselves more, because we come to a plane to do something opposite than perfection. Then do you know how perfect you are?
Like, how would you know it's that it's dark without, it's light without darkness? If it's always light, you wouldn't, it's always light. So how would you value light? When you go into darkness, you say, oh, now it is dark. So there is contrast in between. That's why I think from that unity, we come into a duality world where we are living things as different. And that's the goal, is to go back to the unity. And how do you go back to the unity is by...
But you go back to the unity with a deeper realization of what unity means. Otherwise, we just take for granted. It's like children born in like USA take for granted a lot of things. But if they were to go in Africa, they would realize the value of the things they have over here more, right? Because they've experienced the opposite, right? So they have a deeper realization of what food is and what shelter is and how it is to turn on the light and have the light in the house, right? So that creates a whole different experience, because then there is so much more gratitude for the things that you have. And then you realize yourself even more of how blessed you are, right? So that's why the contrast is needed for us to really know we are perfect. But what does perfection mean? That self-realization, realizing how perfect you are. I think it's one way of explaining how why we keep going to these different schools around the world. Yeah, Debbie, does it answer your question a little bit? It needs self-reflection also.
No, I understand that what you're saying is that we'd have to experience this to understand, like by contrast. But what I've heard from people who have had like near-death experiences, or like what I've been taught growing up, is that when you go there, you are just pure love, pure light, pure happiness, pure like all the good things. You know what I mean? So there's, in my understanding, there's no need to learn anything, because you become knowledge, like you know everything, everything makes sense, everything is understood. So that's why I'm not really quite understanding it.
Yeah, another way of looking at it is, because you visited all these places, were you becoming able to use your creativity, that you're perfect, and make those places perfect too? So you're kind of on an adventure. You want to know that, okay, I am perfect, but can I also make other things perfect, which are not perfect in this universe? Because if I can do that, that shows how much of my power I understand, right? So that's why you go into these imperfect places around the universe, because your goal is to learn to become an alchemist and say, okay, I am perfect, but can I make these different imperfect things perfect too? Right? So if you know how to bake a cake and you're perfect at baking a cake, then can you teach others who don't know how to bake a good cake? Can you teach them? Because that will, when you teach, your knowledge becomes deeper always. Right? So yes, you're perfect, but if you can take imperfect and make it perfect, then you really understand how perfect you are. Right? So if you're able to teach a group of kids who don't know anything about baking, and you can really teach them how to bake a wonderful cake, then you'll get the satisfaction of knowing, yes, I can multiply the perfection in the world. Right?
Yeah. Let's take another question. So Nicole asked, can we do this work if we are not very suggestible or resistant to hypnosis?
Yes, there are different tools available. Hypnosis is one of the tools. For past life, it is hypnosis, because your memories are buried so deep that you need to go into a very calm, relaxed state for those memories to come up. Right? Therefore, we use hypnosis as a tool. It's a state of focus concentration, right? Hypnosis is a state of focus concentration. You need to get into a deep state of focus concentration. And most people can get into hypnosis. We are getting hypnotized every day by the marketing world, right? You're driving and you're in driving hypnosis. You don't even know how you reach from point A to point B. You don't know how many red lights you cross. Why? Because you're in your own thoughts. So whenever you're in a state of focus concentration inside of you, you're in hypnosis. So hypnosis is not something new for your body. You need hypnosis to do anything in this world, because you need a state of focus concentration, right? So yes, you would need some tools to go and do this work, right? For example, I do a lot of energy work. I'm an energy healer too. So it's not that you have to go into your past lives. I can just enter your past lives and clean up things for you. So you don't have to do anything. You can just come for a session, and I will be navigating between your many past lives, and I'll be clearing up things for you. So it's not necessarily that you have to be doing it, right? So yeah, there are so many different ways of entering your energy field and clearing up of things, right? For example, when I started past lives, I was so interested in my past life that I wanted to stop at every past life and investigate and know more about it. Now I've done hundreds of thousands of past lives on myself also. And now I'm like just going there for a purpose, getting it resolved, coming out. I'm no longer interested in all the details anymore, right? So, yeah.
I have a very, we have 6 minutes left, and I see there are lots of questions here, but we'll maybe take a couple more. One question, like, what are the maximum number of past lives how many past lives can a person has? Like millions, thousands, hundreds?
Yeah, thousands, because you're a soul living for eternity. You're billions of your soul. You're going to have experiences. But how many past lives you have on earth? Well, maybe in a few hundreds, hopefully, or a few thousands, but not in millions and billions, because you're going to go to other schools around the universe to study too, right? Because you're not going to get admission in Earth schools so often. But
Yeah.
the number is not important, because what is more important is what experiences and learnings have you gained. So the divine doesn't really care whether you take 10 reincarnation to learn a lesson or you learn in one, because that makes no difference. Right?
Yeah.
Just like in Indian schools, you are failed in a grade if you don't pass, whereas in America, you don't get failed, right? But it doesn't matter whether you failed 3 times or 4 times. The important thing is, did you ultimately graduate, right? And that is what helps you later in life, because nobody asks you how many times you gave an exam to become who you are today.
Yeah, actually, I listened to Matthias Di Stefano. He has a very good documentary, Initiation, on Gaia TV. And what he speaks about is like everything that exists is your past life. It's not like you have one path. So in reality, we are connected to the divine. So divine, and every incarnation of that divine is a past life. It's just that what issues are arising within us, and that frequency resonates with which lifetime that brings us information. So he said that, so the frequency that you're embodying right now will be on a certain frequency of that some past life, which will have the effect of, or that's how we're connected. If we are all on the same, whatever past lives are on the same frequency band, you would call them that they are this lifetime past life, because they're all on the same frequency band. But in another sense, you are connected to all the frequency bands. And if you elevate higher, or regress in your frequency, is what you will say, oh, now I'm connected to different past lives. So it depends, yeah, but cool. Another question, very interesting question from Mahesh, and he's asked the quintessential question about how does the soul come into being, and what is the higher purpose of all these learnings? I think we have kind of addressed this about the higher purpose, but I think we can talk it from the perspective of that higher purpose of soul is to learn and master our energy, master our emotions, master our thoughts. We are light beings. And when we go out in that another realm, so everything is slowed down here so that we can learn it at a slower pace versus when we are there. That's my take, but I'll want, Karuna, your input on this, like why do souls come here, and what is the higher purpose of all these learnings?
All right. So it's, I think, a question of creation. Why did creation happen, right? The Big Bang Theory, or whatever you want to call it, right? There are certain questions where you cannot get answers with words, because those words are so limiting, as I said, right? You have to realize it on your own. That's why it's the path of self-realization, because there's so much truths that I cannot explain with words. You just have to realize it. It's like learning about love. You can learn all about love, but unless you fall in love and you start experiencing love, you don't know what love is, right? So there are a lot of truths, like the truth of creation. You won't know. At a higher level of consciousness, you'll understand why a soul was created, right? But basically, you can, from our thing, in a simple way to understand is, the soul wants to have fun. We all love to go to Disneyland, right? Why? Because we want to go on different rides. We want to have different fun. So the soul is reincarnating, saying, okay, let me go to different parts of the universe and have some fun and see what happens, right? Otherwise, I don't know how good I feel unless I sit on a roller coaster. Then I get a whole brand new experience of feelings or of emotions, right? When I'm on a roller coaster. So the soul is always trying, it's a creative soul. It's always trying to create and learn more about itself. Right. So it was going to go through many experiences. Can I remain calm and balanced in any experience? That's the time when you know that you have really learned your lesson, because your outer things are no longer affecting you anymore, because you have learned how to master your emotions. You've learned how to master your thoughts, right? And you can remain in that state of bliss irrespective of where you are. You're like Buddha. Nothing around you affects you, right? Because you understand things from such a high perspective that you are not going to get bothered with all the different frequencies which are trying to pull you away from perfection, right? There's so many things which are pulling us away from perfection, but can you remain grounded and centered irrespective of all this? And that will happen only with the sword of wisdom. So as you keep rising yourself in consciousness, you'll get access to higher and higher levels of wisdom. It's like Dalai Lama. Have you ever seen him complain about China, right? Even though his country was taken away. Now, why? because he understands that whole play from a higher perspective. Right? So as you graze yourself in higher perspective, a lot of the common problems that you see, which with your human mind, you judge in what particular way. But when you raise your consciousness, you see what this play is all about. And suddenly you know how, you understand why things are happening. Right? So you're the same ocean, but the water of the ocean, which is closer to the shore, is continuously banging against the land, creating so much turmoil. And the same water, if I take it to the center of the ocean, remains calm. Right? So it's your job to see, can you come, have an experience and still remain calm? Can you come, have an experience and still remain? Then you feel great because you've mastered something. So it's like, okay, I'm there somewhere, I'm sitting somewhere and there's a lot of chaos going on, but I can still remain balanced because I understand why this chaos is going on. What is it trying to teach? And that's what the soul craves. That's what the soul takes all these experiences is, can I be myself wherever I am put?
Yeah, that's a beautiful analogy of the beach that you gave.
Mm.
We will take 2 last questions and let's try to, because we are almost time. Okay, so Charu, you go next and then last would be Ruchi.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the talk. I mean, there's a lot of things you want to sit and think and, absorb. But one question that comes to mind right now is like, how does going to past life, like taking Sarika's example, she went and she's realized why she was feeling suffocated because she had something happen in past life. How will that resolve this life, trauma? You understood it, but how will that resolve in this life, knowing that, say, giving an example about, say, depression, for example, there must be something in the past life that could be related to why somebody is experiencing anxiety or depression, this or anger or ADD or whatever. How does that resolve in this lifetime, knowing that?
Very good question, actually. So another way to look at it is in the world of energy, like energy attracts like energy. Okay, that's how the world of energy works. So if you're holding a lot of depression within you, then you're going to attract more people and situations that will create depression for you, because that's just how the law of physics works. So going into past lives, if you can just even remove those energies of depression lying there, right, then you're going to attract different kind of experiences in your life, because everything that you're attracting in your life is based on your energy, on your frequency. Okay, so just going and clearing it up, you don't even have to learn anything, you just want to clear up things. It's like if I have a house full of stuff, right, and I want to clean it out now, maybe I have to first learn not to shop too much. Right. So that's the wisdom part of it, where you're learning to be wise and say, you know what, I'm not going to go shopping anymore. If I go to the shop also, I'm not going to buy because I already have enough stuff. So at least you're stopping the inflow of stuff coming in, but you still have to clean that house of all the stuff that is lying there. Right. So all the depression or anxiety that's lying in your energy field, you still have to clear it. So there are different ways of clearing, and past life is one way of doing it. Right. You enter, you view the past life, just by viewing, you're clearing that energy away. Right. So minute I clear that energy away, if I have less and less of depression energy lying in energy field, I'm going to attract less and less of things that are going to make me more depressed. Why? Because you cleared it away. But when you clear it away, you also have to learn how to infuse it with positive energy so that you can start becoming a magnet for positivity in your life. So you empty the cup before you can fill it with good stuff, right? If you want to have an experience, if your cup is already full with depression, then you're not going to be able to achieve happiness at all. So you have to find a way to clear this cup of the depression energy lying here, the stale energy lying here. Right? You can do it, one of the ways is through past life, but you can do it with energy healing. You can do it with hypnotherapy. You can do it with different ways. Right? So once you've emptied this cup, now you can fill with fresh tea and you're going to enjoy your tea much more. Otherwise, in a stale cup, even if you add a little bit extra fresh tea, you're not going to enjoy it. Right? So in the world of energy, you have to clear up your past energies. You have to remove them. Otherwise, you'll keep attracting. If you're coming here in this lifetime to learn about anger, maybe because there is a lot of anger in your energy field, and you're going to keep attracting situations and people who are going to make you more and more angry all the time. Right? But you are the one manifesting these people and situations, even though your mind makes you think they are the one who are wrong. That's why we go beyond the mind in meditation. So you want to clear up all the anger energy in you, so you'll stop attracting angry people and situations in your life. So that anger within you is giving you a clue of what is it that you need to clear up within you. Right? So that's how it helps your current lifetime, is by knowing what is going on. How do you resolve it? You find a way, and past life is one of the tools you use to resolve and clear up your patterns of behavior in this lifetime. Or you just want to understand, why did I manifest this family member? Because you're having a toxic relationship with the family member, and you don't understand why that person is in your life. Because you can go into past lives and see your other lifetimes with that person, and maybe you'll understand why this person is the way you are and what lessons you're supposed to learn with him in this lifetime. Sharu, does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Ruchi, you're the last one. Take us home.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm driving and I missed the first session, half session. But I really wanted to ask one question. And thank you so much for all what you are, talking about. First of all, I want to say thanks. And my question is, how do we know that we are in this lifetime we are resolving everything what all we have accumulated from the past lives? And how do we know we are not going to take birth again and we have attained the moksha?
When you
When
can
we
remain
die.
in a state of equanimity, doesn't matter what's going on. When you remain in a state of equanimity, that means you've completed your lessons. When you can remain in a state
Okay.
of love and compassion at all times,
Okay.
even if somebody is hurting you, can you remain compassionate? Then you know that you have learned your lesson. That means that person is not able to hurt you because you are in a very high frequency. And when you're at a very high frequency, lower frequency things cannot affect you anymore. So
Correct.
your feelings are your navigation system in this lifetime. From your feelings, you can know which level of consciousness you are in and whether you've completed your lessons or not.
Awesome. Yeah, I get. So if I say in Hindi, it means if everyone is okay. So means सब कर्म बंधनों से मुक्त हो जाना. मतलब आपको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ना क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है. Yeah.
Sorry.
You are living in the high state of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And Ruchi, I'll just expand a little bit more on what Karuna said is, and this is something that I learned in Bhagavad Gita when I was the Vipassana. So Bhagavad Gita says that at the time of death, you were kind of living your whole life internally, and whatever you react to most is what defines your next path. So it's like how we're training ourselves to not be reactive, to just be observant of what comes and what goes. And if we don't react, it's that at that stage, we will not be reactive to any situation that we live through again. And that's how we pass on from this life cycle of birth and death. So till the moment we are reacting to those situations is what keeps us bounded in this, because we react, oh, this person did this to me, and then we go back into that from a different vantage point. So I don't know if
I agree.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense because I have read Bhagavad Gita now a couple times. And yeah, that's what, so I just wanted to clarify, which answers me the same how I have, understood on my own. And thank you so much. No, it really makes sense. And I think everything makes sense once you start believing it also. It all is your belief system, how it works. No, I appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, actually.
All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone for participating, and thank you, Karuna, for taking time to give us this presentation and all the background about it.
And I do half an hour free consultations. If anybody wants to connect with me and ask me any other questions or wants to know more, you can always connect with me.
Yes, I'll share your website on our group. And I've got all the questions. So any unanswered questions, we will post them back. Feel free to post your questions in the channel as well. And we'll take it to Karuna if we can answer it. If we are not able to find answers, we'll look for them together. So
thank you all very much for listening. And I enjoyed my time today with all of you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. This was so action-packed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Have a weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.